inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Suman Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I'm talking about Gnosis with a G. It's raining outside, as you can hear, but maybe this will be like a bit of a meditation. This is esoteric knowledge, so proceed with caution. What exactly is Gnosis? A lot of people understand it to be knowledge, but moreover, I would say it's spiritual knowledge of the highest degree. It is a felt experience, and if you're familiar with the flow state, I'm going to make some parallels with the flow state here with Gnosis. Because it's a felt experience, is one of the preconditions of flow is deep embodiment. Okay? So it's a feeling, it's a quasi-mystical experience. It's your connection to the divine. When I was at a really low point in my life, I used to tell myself upward spiral, upward spiral, upward spiral, upward spiral gang, right? Because I was so low that I needed to get higher. I needed to raise my level of consciousness, and that's basically what it symbolized for me, is the climb. Now, symbolically, if you notice this, it's the same climb of, if you notice DNA, you'll notice a similar upward spiral of DNA. And if you look at DNA through the top, it looks exactly like a mandala. Oh, wait, hold up here. What are you saying, Sue? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. DNA is the perfect symbolism of individuation from Carl Jung. It's the perfect symbol of the hero's journey. It's the perfect symbol of the Kundalini rising, right? The chakras all getting activated, reaching the crown. If you know the story of the double helix and how it was brought into this world, Watson and Crick were the guys, right? Watson had a dream of DNA, of the double helix. So the dream world gave us this symbol of the upward spiral, the symbol of life. If you consider the DNA, you gotta also consider the double serpent. Also, the cosmic egg. There are many snakes in cultures like India and Egypt. This represents that coiling factor of the Kundalini rising. Also, the spiral in which we journey to our potential, to our self-actualization, to our higher states of consciousness. Nature is revered as self-moving. It's momentum. Nature is never stuck or still. It keeps moving. There is an upwards evolution of knowledge. Also, if you notice the symbol of health or pharmacy, notice it's the Casidius, also known as the Asclepius, is the other one, but it's just single. But two snakes looking at each other, right, coiled around the staff of Hermes. Hermes Trismegistus, 3 times great. That symbol is anti-conflict. Health is actually this similar upwards evolution. When we get healthier, you'll notice a health journey. So Maya in Hinduism, they say it's the veil of illusion. While you're seeing through the thin mirage of what things are, not the truth of what they are. And so Maya is the veil of illusion. Maya is the veil of illusion where Gnosis is never realized. It's the little C-curve blocking the dot being the infinite consciousness, infinite reality or truth. So this potentiality, this self-actualization, this ladder disappearing into the stars, DNA never having an end point, the snake spiraling up the spine, all of this can be correlated towards Jacob's ladder. Okay, Jacob's ladder is states of consciousness, and DNA is seen as the sugar phosphate. It's a sugar phosphate backbone. That is what creates DNA. Along with the strands A, T, C, G, right? Sugar phosphate backbone. Phosphate, phosphorus, is known as a very important chemical compound. In alchemy, some would say it's the philosopher's stone, because Jacob slept on a stone, a phosphorus stone, on his pillow to get this visual of a ladder. And in his dream, the place that he went to is called Peniel. Peniel means face of God, vision of God. In his dream, he found himself wrestling with God, an issue with his own humility. Pineal sounds like pineal, okay? And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of thunder and lightning through this video because this is sacred, esoteric knowledge. Hey, someone might even take this video down. I don't know. Okay, so share it, get this knowledge down before it disappears. Gnosis is spiritual knowledge based on experience. It's the felt experience, the flow state recovery phase that comes afterwards. Is light, like phosphorus is light, like the philosopher's stone. If you had an honest and raw expression of yourself and you had the truth of yourself and you went through a lived experience, a felt experience of your life, you've lived life, right? You've been through the maze of life. You get to this right brain from the left brain, and that is known as Gnosis. This is a combination of my own approach and my own thinking, right? So don't take it with a grain of phosphorus. See, the cause of our suffering is the key. We should never run away from our pain, for there are lessons to learn on the ladder of life. Flow state talks about intrinsic value. This world, this demiurge that we're living in, is of extrinsic value. They value resources, they value beauty, they value appearances. Gnosticism looks at men and women, gods and goddesses, as people who have forgotten who they are. Now, there's 3 ignorances that made us forget who we are. It's a triple ignorance. 1, we forgot our origins. 2, we forgot our true nature. And 3, we forgot our ultimate destiny. And so it is up to us to reach Gnosis to get us to realize these 3 truths again. So the freedom or the liberation from these 3 predicaments or ignorances is Gnosis. Or the Hylics, which believed in matter, and the Pneumatics, who believed in this Gnosis element, or getting contained into spirit, and in between are the Psychics. Okay? So the psychic road can be a road to awakening. The Pneumatic saw himself as experiencing the doom of the material world via the transcendent experience of Sophia's divine spark. So Sophia is a female imagery of the goddess. The divine spark is the portion of God that resides within each human. So the purpose of life is to awaken this divine spark within its captivity in matter and reestablish its connection to the divine or to the source or the absolute or God or whatever you want to call it. Sophia is a female figure analogous to the human soul, but also simultaneously it's also known as one of the female aspects of God. Sophia is to be willed or longed for. So we're ignorant to this spark, this divine spark within us that we've had since childhood. So we've got to overcome personal obstacles that get in the way of our own nature and within the environment which we exist. These obstacles in some way might be lessons or things, the powers that manage certain aspects of the universe, whose dominion might be threatened by each individual reaching Gnosis. Okay? So this consumerist world wants to keep us in matter. And I'll tell you why. It's because of the id and the ego, as Freud and Jung bring up very extensively. We each have this psychological battle happening inside of ourselves. We're at war with ourselves. We have an internal battle and an internal conflict. We have the id, and then we have the ego. And I'll give you a brief example in regards to, let's say, you see a girl, she has kind of a RBF, resting bitch face, right? She's kind of just like standing in the corner there. She's very attractive, but maybe you're thinking, don't approach her. You're thinking of all of these rationalizations, right? So your raw, visceral, primal desire is to speak to her, talk to her. But your ego says that's scary, she looks kind of mad, or she's intimidating, or don't get rejected, or what will my friends think, or oh, she's standing with her friends. Any single number of rationalizations is your ego creating an ego defense mechanism. What you really are is a coward. But you don't want to face that truth. And so you create the storyline that I'm actually the noble person over here, and oh, there's something wrong with her, oh, she's dumb, or oh, she's probably taken, or all of these different storylines that you're creating. But it's a comfortable, pretty lie that you tell yourself that you're the noble one, and it's okay to feel like you're a coward. And now, culture comes along with these objects. Hey, learn this pickup line. Hey, do this. Hey, why don't you train in this. Hey, you know what? If you text her this one word, she'll tell you blah, 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 blah. Right? The consumer society comes along. Your issue, your rationalization, your inner battle that you're fighting comes along with a product and tells you this is the answer to your problems. So it targets your identity. Just like women were targeted to smoke, it was connected to the feminist will for freedom. They called it torches of liberty for women. The patriarchy made a lot of money off of the feminists wanting to be free. So objects equal identity, which equals powerful forces running inside of the body. These cues, just like social media. Facebook, you feel lonely inside, you use Facebook. You feel lust inside, you swipe on Tinder. That's how it's constructed. But if you had virtue, you can break this. If you are a virtuous man or a virtuous woman and you have courage, you can override the fear and trust your desire. You can have your superego not be so scared and come in and block your ego and create these rationalizations. At the same time, you wouldn't go wild and just all completely impulsive either. Because when you have reached Gnosis, when you are on this spiritual path, you're tapping into the flow, you're tapping into momentum, you're tapping into this upward spiral, and everything is making sense along the path because it's synchronicity. Am I just trying to get away from this matter to spirit? Not necessarily. We live in a physical universe. So you just got to understand the puppet strings that are happening. And once you know that, you have much more power over it. The thing is, this is going to feel like a tug of war inside of you, of heart and mind, of right and wrong, of all of this duality. That is the process that you awaken with. So if right now, in this present time, you're feeling like, oh, you're rationalizing things, you're holding yourself back, you're doing this, go back to your truth. What is the truth? From the truth, you can get that divine spark. The divine spark that is within all of us. And this is what the Gnostic wisdom believes. And you have that Gnostic wisdom available to you, within you. But that divine spark needs to happen, it needs to take place for you. So, be a philosopher. Philosophy means love of wisdom. Okay, that's what philosophy means. It means love of wisdom. So you're the philosopher of your own life. And you're on these videos and watching my channel because you love wisdom. And I've gained some kind of wisdom through my experiences in life, and I'm sharing them through video format, like this. That's my experience with this thing. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me about this. But this is the kind of, I'm giving you the beginning rungs of the ladder for you to awaken at this point. I'm fully invested in this flowing journey, and I'm ready to ascend. Let's get it. Upward spiral.